there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be.
The DNC is in total chaos, and Maher isn't pulling any punches. You might think a party with no leader, no vision, and no clear message would earn his sympathy. But instead, he's going full scorched earth. On Real Time with BillMaher, the razor-sharp host tore into AOC and the Democrats for ignoring the hard lessons of their last crushing defeat. And it was absolute fire. Let's break it down.
Why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for.
Maher opened by expressing his frustration with a party he has supported for decades, with his vote, his money, and his cultural influence, only to be sidelined and ignored. Despite being one of the Democrats' biggest media allies, they've repeatedly avoided his platform. He's invited them countless times to appear on Real Time with BillMaher, yet they never show why. Because they're terrified of tough questions and unwilling to defend their fragile positions against real counterarguments. Instead of embracing open debate, they retreat into the safety of their echo chambers, proving Maher's point that the left has grown soft, insecure, and intellectually complacent. But what about Republicans? Are they afraid too?
They show up, and when they do, they take their beating like a man. You went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his ass after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. It's Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this.
Sure, Republicans have had their share of comebacks, some sharp, others clumsy, and a few that probably landed hits on Maher himself. But that's not the point of this clip. What really matters is that win or lose, Republicans actually show up. They sit across from Maher, take the heat, and engage in the debate even when their arguments aren't perfect. That willingness to step into the arena, knowing they might stumble, shows a level of grit and accountability. Unlike their Democratic counterparts, they don't hide behind safe spaces or avoid tough conversations. They face the fire, and that alone says a lot.
AOC on the show, and Mondami and Elizabeth Warren. But I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
It's no secret that the far left is driving today's woke agenda. What's truly alarming is how much louder and more influential they've become than the Democratic Party itself. Instead of standing firm on principle, the party caves to every demand, no matter how extreme. It's as if the DNC has surrendered its spine entirely, choosing appeasement over leadership. The result is a hollow institution more focused on pacifying the loudest activists than serving the broader American public. What the party desperately needs right now isn't another figurehead bowing to the mob, but someone with the courage and conviction to finally say enough and push back against this far-left takeover.
Practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid of.
BillMaher couldn't be more on point. In recent years, a huge number of moderates inside the Democratic Party have quietly drifted toward the center, or even to the right. These are lifelong Democrats who once felt at home in the party, but now feel pushed out by an agenda increasingly dominated by the far left. The truth is, many of them would come back if the DNC had the courage to loosen the grip of the woke fringe. But instead of reclaiming balance, the party tiptoes around the far left like it's walking on eggshells, terrified of backlash, cancellation, or being branded disloyal. Until the Democratic Party decides to break free from this extremism, moderates will keep their distance, and the party will remain stuck in a loop of pandering, fear, and political paralysis.
Have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrats, socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get.
Let's break this down clearly. Here's what BillMaher is actually saying. If the Democratic Party decides to put Zohran Mamdani front and center heading into the 2028 election, they might as well gift-wrap the presidency for J.D. Vance. Maher's warning is simple. Mamdani's brand of woke, hard-left socialism might resonate with Gen Z, a generation that craves radical change and progressive ideals. But that's not enough to win a national election. The problem is the generational math. Gen Z may be loud, but they aren't the largest voting bloc. Millennials, Gen X, and especially baby boomers still dominate the electorate. And Maher knows Mamdani's rhetoric isn't going to win them over. In fact, it'll push them even further away. The message couldn't be clearer. Betting the party's future on a far-left figure like Mani is political suicide. It's a reckless gamble that almost guarantees a Republican victory.
With a psycho who all they care about is controlling you, they're very good at diagnosing problems. Yeah. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain power.
To me, Mamdani isn't offering leadership at all. He's exploiting frustration. He takes real flaws in the system and uses them not to fix anything, but to weaponize public anger. Instead of proposing thoughtful, workable solutions, his rhetoric only intensifies the very problems he claims to be fighting. It's the same old playbook: point fingers, stir emotions, inflame resentment, but never deliver results. And let's be honest, socialism, no matter how beautifully it's packaged, has never produced prosperity anywhere it's been tried. Yet young voters, many of whom haven't lived through its failures or taken the time to study them, get swept away by Mamdani's promises. They hear ideals dressed up as progress, while overlooking the real consequences: economic stagnation, diminished freedoms, and deeper societal division. Mamdani isn't leading a movement toward solutions. He's selling a fantasy that history has repeatedly exposed as dangerous. And the sad part? The youth cheer him on without asking the hard questions.
For a guy like you, who you spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much, and here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mamdani, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it up again.
Some of us actually have studied history, and we know exactly what socialism leaves in its wake. And trust me, we're not interested in reliving those consequences. So no, we're not praying for Manny to win. In fact, it's the opposite. We're hoping more Democrats wake up before it's too late and realize the kind of damage his leadership would unleash if he ever came to power. The warning signs are already flashing. Policies that sound inspiring in theory, but collapse the moment they're put into practice. Promises that tug at emotions, but quietly erode the foundations of a stable economy and a free society. What we're really hoping for is clarity. Clarity for voters to see past the soaring slogans and slick rhetoric, and to recognize the long-term harm buried inside Mamdani's agenda. If Democrats actually care about the future of their own party, They'll stop him at the ballot box before he drags it straight into collapse.
Slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess. So, when the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Nurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both. That's socialism.
On paper, socialism always sounds appealing. A polished utopian fantasy where everyone shares equally and no one gets left behind. But in the real world, it has consistently delivered outcomes far worse than anything seen under capitalism. For all its imperfections, capitalism still rewards effort, innovation, and determination. It gives people the opportunity to build, to earn, and to create a better future for themselves and their families. Socialism flips that promise upside down. In practice, its equality is nothing more than a convenient smokescreen that allows a new class of elites to centralize power. They take the lion's share while ordinary people, no matter how hard they work, are left with little to show for their labor. The result is injustice. It's stagnation, frustration, and poverty dressed up as progress.
The usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses, we know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Unfortunately, this is exactly how the left often views the right, like a group of ignorant, backward people incapable of basic reasoning. It's a stereotype they refuse to let go of, a convenient narrative that lets them dismiss conservative voices without ever confronting the actual arguments. In their worldview, anyone who supports MAGA or leans right must be uneducated, unenlightened, or morally flawed. And naturally, they cast themselves as the enlightened class, the wiser, kinder, morally superior guardians of truth. But history has made one thing clear, that arrogance is their Achilles heel. When you spend your time looking down on your opponents, you start underestimating them. And the moment you underestimate them, you lose that's the left's blind spot. Their endless self-congratulation blinds them to the real frustrations motivating millions of Americans, frustrations that no amount of smug moral preening can make disappear. We wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed this unapologetic breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more hard-hitting commentary.